welcome everyone to tonight's stream on Extreme Gaming League. We're here once again for the second round of Season 5 of SLR Tier 1, and after that little, well, my PC decided it didn't particularly fancy working, so I had to restart.
Timo, the studio's still up. The studio's still up.
Intentional. I know. I literally knew. It was literally intentional.
Oh.
You absolutely...
Oh.
I mean, I didn't see that it looked like shit because there was a car driving in it, but that wasn't... well... So here we are then. I'm
Hello, everyone.
You do the intro. I don't want to anymore. I hate you.
Alright. It's Bahrain. It's, well, I mean, you know what it is by now. SLR Tier 1. We are back. We've got Hugo's on top of the timing sheets, which will come as no surprise to anyone who has been paying attention for the last month or so. It's Bahrain, and we're going to get, hopefully, a really good race here. It should be really close among the front runners. I mean, there are plenty of front runners in this race. All the usual suspects are here, and Bahrain's one of those tracks where pretty much you are locked for the whole of the race because the DRS is extremely strong. There are 3 DRS zones. They are all pretty strong. They all give you a good couple of tenths at least, and there aren't that many corners, so I think we're going to see some good racing here today.
Yeah, I agree. Bahrain is usually like one of my favorites to watch, just because the multitude of DRS zones just gives the opportunity for overtakes and then re-overtakes. And what is that camera view? Amazing. And so if you get passed into turn 1, then you still have a shot with the DRS to bounce back into turn 4, and that's a possibility and something we will surely see a lot today. And therefore I think it's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. For now, qualifying is has been underway for 11 minutes, and Yugos is on provisional pole with a 25-0. Comparing it to yesterday, this is amazing. I love the new season. I can finally say yesterday to refer to Tier 2, because that's what I accidentally did for like the last 2 seasons. Yesterday, we saw, I think, a pole time by Nicolaitis of like 25-4, I think. So if you... wait, let me check. That would be roughly where Wow and Danny are, and I expect Danny, some idiot, Copy, and Jensen, basically, yeah, most of the drivers, honestly, to improve quite a bit from here, and get closer to where Yugos is, and maybe even see Yugos go into the 24s. I think he's done yesterday in Rapid Races, which he did drive and win, so maybe it's gonna work out. We'll see.
Yep, I think it might do as well. 25-0 is very, very quick, especially early in the session. We've got several other drivers snapping at his heels, though. Gary with a very good lap, a 25-3 in the racing point is a really good performance from him. Wow, and Danny and some idiot both all within sort of 600ths or so of each other on a 25-4, and then just behind are Copy and Jensen and Bailey as well. So close grid, which we would expect. There aren't that many corners around here, so pace is really sort of fairly uniform across the top 10. But as ever, Hugo's just finding that little bit extra at the moment in the first part of qualifying.
Oh, I've got the usual. I need to
Okay. Timo needs to unplug something.
I need to unplug my wheel because we were just getting the review.
Aha.
Which is an amazing bug in this game, yeah. It's brilliant. I don't know how they did that. It's beautiful. I hope I'm not the only one. Like Wimpy messaged me some days back and telling me, how did you get rid of that bug? Ocean's got it. We can't do the stream. What the hell? So, anyways, Codemasters. That's Codemasters for you. We've got basically to the last qualify. One thing worth mentioning for everyone who's not as familiar with F1 2020 and more familiar with the past games, you would expect going into this qualifying session that everyone's going to try and put in a lap on mediums, because medium hard was just objectively the strategy to do in last game. But in this one, you can actually, if you stretch the tires properly, and they don't fall off a cliff as much as they did in last games, if you stretch them properly, you can do soft medium here. most people are gonna do soft hard, I expect, but soft medium is possible. I know Yugos is one of the guys who likes to do it. So is Danny and so is some idiot. And I know Copy's good on tire wear, so he could as well. And that's why everyone's on softs.
Yeah, we saw that in Australia, didn't we? With a bunch of drivers deciding to go for the soft medium instead of the soft hard, which is the traditional strategy around there. So I think, again, if you're outside of the top 10, it's a little bit more of a decision as Brawley goes P6. That's a very good lap for the newcomer in the Ferrari.
I believe he and El Sonny are both friends of Jensen. And
okay.
I think he is... wait. I know that both of them have driven in like this SLR iRacing event thingy, and they are like, yeah, they are in Jensen's esports squad. I think they're his endurance teammates. So just by virtue of that, they are going to be quick drivers, and we will need to watch out for them. Right now, Jensen might regret getting them in here because right now one of them is ahead of him. So
yep, absolutely right. And someone else having a breakout performance in this race so far is Gary, who's just coming to the end of his lap now, just over a 10th behind, and he locked up a little bit into the final corner and almost loops it, and I think he will probably abandon now and go into the pits. He does.
Yep, pit lane, I mean, entering and exiting the pit lane takes like roughly like 67 seconds, and he's got that time. He can do another outlap, and
yeah, just so barely.
Qualifying's not over for him yet.
We've got Hugo, who's just started his fast lap. He's the first of the front runners to have started his final qualifying lap, and he gets it all wrong in turn 2. Gets a big moment, and he will back right out of it. Don't know if he'll decide to do another lap on those tires. He has time to do it if he wants to, but might not want to, given the increased tire wear. It might not be worth it for him.
Yeah, definitely not. He's riding on a very thin nice edge, to say it like that, because there is basically just two laps of pit window, 10 and 11, and even with that, for soft medium, and even with that, you risk a puncture. It happened to some idiot yesterday, and it might just not be worth it, especially not if your time is a 25.0.
Yeah, absolutely right. Wow, starting his lap now, going down towards turn 1. He's riding on board and slowing, getting a little bit onto the curb on the entry to the corner, but didn't seem to hurt him too badly. Running nice and wide, but not wide enough to make a difference there in turn 3. Now all the way over to the left-hand side and cheating a little bit. 2 wheels on the dust there into turn 4.
I'm getting performance issues. My game is freezing. That's great.
Oh dear. Well, fingers crossed that Timo's computer doesn't commit the big suicide.
Yeah, I have a
that
feeling...
would be very unfortunate for the stream and also for me. But here is WoW as Icewind retires from P19. Now, what happened to Icewind in this qualifying session? Not really able to hook a lap up at all. And he'll be starting right at the back.
Just like Triton will get one more run, but he's right now sitting in P20.
Yep, so he's not hooked a lap up either. WoW has got Julian in front of him. Julian very courteously gets out of the way, and so down the front straight now. I missed what the second split was for WoW. You might have seen it on the stream. But around the last corner he goes. Is he going to cross the line? He is going to cross the line, so this might be an improvement from WoW. He crosses the line 25.2. He goes onto the front row. So good stuff from him. Hugo does indeed retire, as we suspected that he might, having come back into the pits.
Yeah, and WoW will now carry his tires gently to the garage, so he doesn't need to drive home himself. It actually costs you like 3% of tire wear to retire your car yourself. And with the thin margins we're working with here, that's definitely not worth it. Also, one thing to keep an eye out for is wait, let me check. Who's that Ferrari? It's Brawley. Because yeah, Brawley just crossed the finish line, and he's not getting the checkered flag. That's a bug in this game, and it's reproducible, so he could theoretically do another lap. He won't, but he could, and it's a bug.
Yeah, we noticed that, I think, in one of the races last weekend, as some idiot crosses the timing beam. Jensen goes P5, by the way, in a 25.4. Some idiot is marginally improving right now. 500ths up on his last time, coming down the penultimate straight into the last corner. I think he's got Danny ahead of him as well. So Danny's going to cross the line here, and Danny does improve to P2, and some idiot crosses the line. He goes P5. Bailey crosses just behind. Good lap from Bailey at 25.3.
On his comeback as well.
What else do we have? That's all of the front runners that I can... Oh, Copy is on a fast one. Don't know what his second split was. But Copy on a fast one down into the last corner. He's got Wow in front of him. He's going to get out of his way. He's going to cross the line now, is Copy. And he goes P5. Man, it's very, very close at the front. So P2 down to P8 is covered by 0.2 of a second, but almost 0.2 of a second in front of everyone is Hugo's, who once again has produced a very, very good lap time in this qualifying session.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, I've got to say that. No one else really was able to get close to that today. I mean, well, like 0.2, it's relatively close, but it's just not enough, and you gotta be there to, yeah, I mean, you gotta be there when it counts, and Hugo's 25 flat is enough for pole today, and I think it sets him up perfectly for this race. Especially, I think he's pace-wise probably just about got the upper hand against Danny, I think. So he is in a really good position. Wow, behind will need to fight his way past. The thing that ruined the race last week for Wow, of course, was penalties, and that's not as big a factor here. It could happen, like, here you're basically the idiot if you get a single one, but in Australia it was just like a matter of staying in the single digits with your penalties. And if you're not careful here, you can definitely pick one up. It's there's some dodgy corners, like turn 4 or turn 2 or 3, the second to last corner. Most of them are, if you do overstay corrections, you go off track, and then it says, yeah, you totally gained time here, take a warning. And
yeah, absolutely right. And it is harsher than last year, the penalty situation for F1 2020. It's much easier to get a penalty than it is in F1 2019. So we'll see what happens on that front. But I mean, just I was saying earlier about Bahrain, all of pretty much the top 10 are going to be DRS locked for a little while, I would imagine. So it's going to be very difficult for anyone to make a break unless something happens. Which it might, because certainly this track is noted for its close racing, but it's going to be a little bit more like a cycling race where a lot of the front runners will be pacing themselves and making sure they get those tires to the end of the race, just conserving resources in the first part of the race so they're in the best possible position at the end of the race with those medium tires as fresh as they possibly can.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like that's essentially what it's going to come down to, and also a failed overtake could be very costly here, just in general, because it goes hard on your tires to not drive the proper line, to drive like sort of a fighting line, and that could compromise your strategy. Also, if you spin or have like a bigger slide, it basically just takes a few tenths of your race pace every lap from then till the end, and you don't want that to happen. Let's have a look at the tires, shall we? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So everyone in the top 10 obviously on softs, because you need to do a fast lap time, but split between softs and mediums behind. So I wonder how many of those drivers outside the top 10 are going to be going onto the hard tire, and how many are going to be trying to stretch it to the soft tire. I would imagine that a lot of them will be trying to do medium softs, because the tires will not have done qualifying, of course.
The game itself doesn't even acknowledge the possibility of a one-stop, even though I think most of the people here are going to be in a one-stop. It says basically soft, medium, or soft, hard, pick. But
yeah,
I don't think
that's certainly not what we're going to see.
Yeah, it's wrong.
Unless we see a safety car, of course, which we might well.
Yeah.
Lots of safety cars so far in SLR and 2 SRL.
Imagine saving your entire bad Bahrain drive by getting a safety car. That would be pretty incredible, wouldn't it?
And kind of interesting to see. So some drivers are warming tires and some are not. Danny, I've noticed, not really warming his tires at all. He is a little bit now on the penultimate straight, but into the front straight, and yeah, a bunch of the drivers behind him have warmed their tires. So that old trade-off of wear versus temperature.
Yeah, I think this is
You
one
warm
of
your
the few tracks
Sorry, go
where... I think this is one of the few tracks where the wear is just objectively better. You get a good launch and then after like 2 or 3 corners your tires will be hot. So I think it's the thing to do to not overheat. I mean, to not get too much heat into the tires. They shouldn't be stone cold. You don't want to get mugged by everyone, but generally probably worth it for those few percents. Well, okay, let's look at the start and let's hope the HUD doesn't glitch out actually. So we get 5 red lights. And we go green in Bahrain, and Yugos looks like he's gotten away pretty good. Danny is already tucked in behind. Wow, might fight him on the side. I see Gary already looking to the inside. Someone is very far to the inside. That's some idiot. He's side by side with Bailey Thompson. Gary is side by side with Wow actually for P3, and I don't think there's going to be a change for position. I might have been a warning actually because they run off track. Yugos solidly in the lead. Someone is spun, and that's Pixel. So the second race that starts with a Red Bull facing the wrong way already in SLR Tier 1. Unfortunately, Bailey Thompson with a good start up in P5. Brawley 6. Then we've got Copy. Jensen followed by El Sonny, and some idiot is in P10, so he got swamped. Also
yeah, big loser in that start was some idiot. Didn't exactly see what happened. He's trying to go around the outside now of El Sonny. He looks like he might have the move done for P9 into the double left-hander, but a really poor start from him, but a good start up front from pretty much everyone, I think, and it's as you were at the front. Hugo's from Danny, from Wow, and Gary hanging in there as well in P4.
Yeah, I mean, this has gone perfectly to plan for especially our leading 2, and Hugos has already got a 0.6 second gap. He might just try and run away with this. I don't know, maybe it's a little risky. If he does it, he could get away out of the DRS of Danny, but then again, he could also just ruin his tires and make it easier for Danny to wheel him in quicker.
Yep, certainly will. He's at 0.8 at the moment, so certainly he's going to be doing his best, as once again the game informs me at least that the pit stop strategy is going to be a 2-stopper, and oh yeah, that's a bug.
Here we go.
About to get all excited there. We got Basco alongside Bryce Evolution down the front straight. Basco on the inside, he'll get that place. And we've got 2 people pitting, so I guess there was some damage for both Icewind and for El Sunny at the start of the race. They've pitted and put on the hard tires.
And, oh, wow, that was, I think, Bailey Thompson. It's really hard to tell with this craziness on the timing tower. We're apparently in lap 3 now. So they've just taken the lap 1 bug and they've delayed it by a lap, which is much appreciated because this is at least a little bit easier to wrap your head around than the lap 1 bug. It's still not great. And,
yep, certainly not great. Hugo's trying to make a break, but I don't think he's quite far enough ahead of Danny. I think Danny will have the DRS as they cross the line, assuming he doesn't make another mistake. But pretty much the front 5 or 6 are all within a second of each other, so no splits in the peloton, as it were, as of just yet, as we come towards the end of lap 2.
Yeah, I've seen Wow attack Danico early on, and it would have been really important to do it as long as the DRS train isn't live yet. But I think he has missed out on that chance. He attacked Danico last lap into turn 1 and had to yield. Would have been important to be P2 in that train.
Oh, what's happened to Light Cruiser? He's pitting. No, he's not pitting. Yeah, he is pitting. So I guess another one with damage is Light Cruiser.
So Triton and Justin are fighting. Triton having very much a multiple personality because he can't decide between rapid races and 2 SRO. I would know what's the objectively right decision, but you know.
Justin and Triton, we saw this before in Australia. Of course, these two came together on lap 1. Triton trying to go up the inside, Justin just about hanging onto the place by braking nice and late, but there's a big gap now between some idiot in 9th and Justin in 10th because these two have been fighting.
Also with the medium tires, I do not expect them to be able to close the gap. And Julian's run. Yeah, Julian's round. I think that might have actually been on traction, but we've discussed it earlier in VC. The cars do snap a little more on traction. It is less of a gradual process where you can just at every point lift off again and you're fine. So That might have caught Julian out, and our last season's champion is down into P16, and he's gonna have some troubles if he wants to get some good points here.
So the top 9 leading us away here in lap 3 again. No splits as of yet. Everyone's staying within DRS pretty comfortably by the looks of things. Brawley is quite close to the back of Bailey Thompson. He might be having a little look up the inside into turn 1, but of course they both have DRS, and Slipstream is not particularly strong, so Brawley having to stay behind as they both lock a brake there, Bailey and Brawley, into turn 1. Oh, Ice Wind. Oh dear.
Has lost a place to Bryce Evolution, so he's been caught off guard into turn 1. And, so let's see how... Yeah, Brawley is really close. I think he's just genuinely quicker here, although you can see the understeer. I wonder if that was dirty.
Oh my goodness. Maybe. That was a lot of understeer. He got his line slightly wrong as well.
And that copy is right up his rear.
Yeah, he went too deep into the first of those right-handers, and that... Oh, Basco has gone around into the wall, in fact, Basco. And he has lost some of his front wing, so that was an impact into the wall by the looks of it for Bascodinho. And he's all the way down to P17. He'll have to pit, I would imagine, fairly soon.
Yeah, the DRS train, I thought it had fallen apart because Bailey Thompson was...
Oh, another mistake from Brawley, and Brawley is going to lose the place here to Copy, and he does.
Yeah.
Nice move around the outside from Copy, but that is the split that the front runners will have wanted. So Copy now a second and a half away from Bailey in front of him, and Brawley might lose another place here to Jensen.
Yeah, I think Jensen's gonna tuck in behind. That was important for Copy to get past, but now... Oh yeah, Brawley pulls over, he's getting to the pits.
Hitting.
Oh, he's missing front wing. I don't know what happened.
Oh, he is, yeah. So he might have run into the back of Bailey while we weren't looking. So Brawley... So his race has been very compromised.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The safety car can still pull this back. He's going for the medium, so he is definitely stopping, which makes sense because I don't think you can drag the hards longer than like 23 laps, is what I've been told. So hards not that much more durable than mediums, to be honest.
Oh dear. So bad news for him. Up front, we've got the top 5 within DRS now. Copy losing a little bit of time because he doesn't have that advantage down the straights. And it's going to be very difficult, I think, for him to get back into that DRS zone of Bailey now that he's lost it. So I think we might see the front 5 just very gradually pull away from Copy and Jensen and some idiot who are in a train just behind them.
Maybe if they hold each other up. But to be honest, it's not going to be in anyone's best interest in the top 5 to fight. So Copy might be out of luck. But he's made the gap to Jensen, so I think he's fine in both directions. Like, he's not getting DRS, but Jensen isn't either.
Yeah, Jensen has used a lot. Yeah, he used a lot of his battery there down the back straight. He knew exactly what was up. Made sure he got the DRS before the detection point, and he does indeed have it down the front straight. So, game has informed me that the pit window is open. I can assure you that it is not yet open, as Pretorius having connection issues, or what is that for Pretorius? I don't exactly know.
I'm pretty sure he was disconnected earlier on. Also, may I say, beautiful black Mercedes.
Yep, really is pretty.
Really
And it's good to see in the game now. Not quite as dominant in the F1 game in this league as they are in real life. Yeah.
Triton and Justin having a second run. They're gonna run side by side as Justin is squeezed.
No room.
Oh.
Yeah, no room for Justin there. Triton playing hardball, just putting his car in the way of Justin in the corner, and Justin has no choice but to yield.
Was Gary dropped? Wow.
Yeah, dropping off the back. I don't know if he's got a little bit of battery, but and he's just made a little bit of a mistake there as well. So Gary might be dropping off the back of the front 3 here.
Yeah,
he's whether his tires are going or whether he's just making mistakes because he's losing the draft, I don't know, but certainly at the moment.
Copy is almost back in. I think he should have used way more battery there. He might have actually... I mean, look, he didn't use battery, and now he's like barely within the second after the measurement point. With some battery, he could have easily got himself there.
No DRS. Bailey going to be having a look here at Gary down the inside into turn 1. He is going to get the move done. So nice move from Bailey, getting it stopped for the corner as well. No real chance of a comeback for Gary, although there might be now because he is going to have DRS. Bailey moving to the inside, but Gary was quite insistent there that he was going to go down the inside, not managing to stay alongside before the corner though, and Bailey, through his battery, I imagine, manages to keep the position.
I wonder what's going to play out up front, because Yugos is leading solidly, and I don't think he's making much of an effort to break away from Danny. I think this is all very coordinated between them. They all know what's up, don't fight or you're going to ruin your tires for every one of the top 3. And so they are in formation, but I mean, Danny and Wow are not going to be happy with P2 or 3. They want to win this, and how are they going to get past Yugos? I imagine that the pit strategy might be a vital part, so I'm wondering, is there going to be an undercut or something? Could be risky for the tire life.
Yeah, I would think there would be an undercut, and I'm just wondering what's happened between Justin and Triton, because Triton's 3 seconds off the back now, so I imagine those two have had some sort of a coming together. We saw both of them being very aggressive in both attack and defense, so Triton coming off worse there.
Fair play to him.
Meanwhile,
because he's driving on mediums and he was able to... Oh, never mind, Justin's also mediums. Confused them for Plus.
Yeah, they're both on mediums. Gary trying to defend from copy, but nothing doing down the front straight. Gary without the battery to be able to defend that copy, and the Williams up to P5. He's not too far away from the back of Bailey. He will have DRS.
Yeah, nicely done. I mean, he had dropped the train and has gotten himself back into it and already picked the first one off. So he's getting himself set up for P4 here. Also, that's the wrong Red Bull. Jensen P15. Oh, that's actually an AlphaTauri. Jensen P15 has pitted in the meantime, so he's the first one to go on hards, and they're gonna be absolutely done at the end of the race. But that undercut might prove worthwhile, as everyone else's tires are gonna hit like 65% by now, I'd reckon.
Yep. Something like that. The softs are going to be screaming for help very soon. The front 3, though, making a little bit of a break. Bailey 2.6 behind now in P4, and then comes Copy, Gary, and some idiot tagging along on the back of that group. But that 2.6 seconds might be very meaningful, because it's so difficult to make up that amount of time around here. There's really not a lot of time to be gained. You can consistently run the same lap time over and over, and gaining 2.6, 2.7 now is a tall order.
Especially for Bailey, who is a quick driver, but...
oh, wow, pitting.
Oh, and so is Bailey.
Oh, and so is Bailey. So a couple of people, I know Gary as well, whose tyres I think were done. So those guys are going to be going on hards, right? I don't think they're going to be stretching the mediums.
I was going to make the prediction like a lap earlier that I think Wow, oh, that's an unsafe release of her seeing that Wow is going to go for hards, and I expect Danny and Hugos to go for mediums, because they've done it in rapid races yesterday. It's worked out fine for them, and I expect them to repeat it. And
yep,
Wow,
very possibly.
Probably not.
Front 2, though, Hugos and Danny from the opposite sides of the Pennines in England. Hugos from the west side, Danny from the east side.
Your east coast versus west coast isn't nearly as cool as you think.
Those two making a break. Danny still in DRS, so he's able to retain that advantage. We got some battles further down. Tipsy now right on the back of Bryce Evolution. Battle for what is now 7th.
Yeah, Bryce is on hards. Amazing. Bryce is on softs that... why do I have... How many phones do I have in this room? I just shut one off.
Oh dear.
I'm sorry.
So Tipsy and Bryce still battling as Tipsy goes through, I think, on the right-hander, and I think he will now retain that advantage. Bailey and Pretorius also swapping places. Pretorius has not pitted yet. Bailey, of course, has. And Pretorius looks like he might actually be disconnected. Yeah, he's ghosted.
Yeah.
So Jensen and Gary just going through the black Mercedes, and he unfortunately won't be scoring any points in this race, Pretorius.
Yeah, so Bryce is gonna drop through the order now, as he's probably also going for the mediums, otherwise he would have pitted. And And I expect Hugos and Danny both to come in this lap, but that could actually be a problem for Copy if he has to double stack this, and with the pit window being like one single lap, I think.
Yeah, very good point. He might be losing a bit of time here because he will have to stack behind Hugo. He's only 4.5 seconds behind his teammate.
Or he does
so Copy.
one more lap. He might do one more lap than Hugo's, but that's risky.
Yeah, we could be seeing those soft tyres in puncture territory. Copy, of course, very smooth, but he has been battling a little bit, so he might not have been as smooth as he needs to be to take those tyres an extra lap.
We'll see now. Coming to the back straight. Hugos and Danny.
Jensen fighting his way back through the field. Pixel, who is yet to pit, and Jensen, of course, on the fresh hard tyres. He just goes... Yep, and Gary passing as well. So Danny does pit end of lap 10. Hugo stays out, and Copy pits as well. So no double stacking for the Williams crew. Copy managing to get it slowed down. So did Danny for the pit line.
I am seeing mediums on Danny's car, and I assume the same for Copy, yes. So I think this is a successful undercut from the Ferrari crew on Hugos. I think he might have played his hand wrong a little bit there. Yeah, maybe he's counting on the others, mediums also getting into puncture territory at the end of the stint, and then he'll just...
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends how strong the undercut is, because Danny is going to have a little bit of a tyre advantage here on this lap, but if he's not, he was what, half a second behind when he came into the pits, but if he's not within, like if he's not outside the 1 second range for Hugo, surely that's a really big advantage for Hugo, who's going to be on 1 lap, newer tyres for the whole of the second stint, and if Hugo has the DRS, then there's no issue for him at all. He's going to have a pretty major advantage in the second half of this race. As we see him go through the right-hander, he is losing a lot of time to his best. He's a full second down on his best lap time.
Why is Copy in P13?
Yeah, I don't know why. Did he have some sort of a... Did he change his front wing or something?
Wait, is that Brawley
no, he lost,
move on Pixel?
lost 7 seconds. It is.
He's got it.
Oh, running wide though. Pixel is going to be... Yeah, not particularly interested in fighting that. And Hugos does pit from the lead at the end of lap 11. So he got them to the end of 11. And he might be in a very good position to push on.
Wow is going to be in the net leader of this race, but on hards. And while hards are definitely slower than the mediums, if he can keep the others behind, by the end of the race he'll be better off with those fresh ones. And now Danny and Hugos, it's actually kind of close. Hugos will have the inside here, but they're gonna be a little bit cold, and the two Brits are running side by side through the first sector. It was just not enough for Hugos. He's gonna slot in a net P3. As a Tipsy and Triton also fighting up there, and Tipsy's made the move on Triton, so I don't know what's happening with Triton right now. Well, I made that sound really rude. Tipsy's of course a beast, so you know, but still.
So yeah, Hugo did get jumped by Danny, but how much will that actually matter? Wow has actually jumped the pair of them. So he's up to what is now the net lead of the race, but of course he's on the hard tyres, but that might be okay for him if he can hang in the DRS, and it'll be easier said than done. Those tyres are going to be a bit slower than the mediums, quite a bit slower than the mediums in the second half of the race, or at least in the next few laps. But wow, with those hard tyres at the end of the race, if he hangs in the DRS, I just wonder if they're going to be good for him. They might be better at that point than the mediums.
Yeah, I mean, we've essentially got the first stint again, but the trio of them is turned upside down with Rao now leading the charge, but maybe not for long because Danny's really close to him, and I think...
And a penalty for WoW as well.
Oh no.
Which is a big deal. You don't want to be getting penalties here. Hugo going alongside. Is he going to squeeze Danny here? He's not. They're almost going to be 3 wide as they come into the first corner. They are 3 wide as they go through it, and they all swap positions. Hugo getting 2 places in 1. Danny staying where he is, and WoW losing both of those places. So Hugo with a lovely move there, very opportunistic. He gave Danny room as well. Didn't want to risk his own race there for any sort of a temporary advantage on track, and Hugo does get the move done. And now he is in the net lead of the race, coming up to the back of Tipsy and Justin, who is a few seconds up the road.
Yeah, well, I was actually in a terrible position now because he has got the worst tires out of those three. The hards are still gonna fall off a cliff really hard, just not as much as the mediums. And they are also quite old, so I think he's not even gonna be able to hang on to this train. And also he's got a penalty, so he's essentially out of the fight for this win here, unless something major happens. While Hugos is in a brilliant position as he catches up to Tipsy Bob quite early. He'll make that move on the back straight, I think. Unless he
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah, he might get he might wait for DRS. But Hugo with no warnings as well. No warnings for Hugo. Danny has 2.
Oh, wow.
And Wow, of course, has that penalty, so he's had 3 warnings. But Hugo has kept it clean so far. So as Tipsy makes a little bit of a mistake there in the last corner, Hugo will just...
swamp, but Danny... Oh, Danny's not happy with this. He doesn't want to see the rear of this Williams for the second stint after he's done it for 1 full stint already. So he's going to go to the outside. Can he brake later? He's going to swing it all that way, and he's going to carry the speed on the curb on the inside, and he's got that done. That was beautiful, but maybe Hugos is going to be able to fight him back. I don't think so. Maybe look at the inside, turn 4, no. So Danny takes back the lead, and they are fighting quite hard considering they both are doing the nursing, like the tire nursing strategy. Quite some fighting for those two.
Yep, absolutely right. And Wow now is in a really poor position because he still hasn't overtaken Tipsy. I would have thought he would have got past on the front straight, but he didn't get the run he needed, and now he is out of DRS, so it's the front 2 going to be breaking away. And Hugo very sensibly not fighting Danny too hard there into turn 3 because he knows the position that Wow is in. He wants to drop Wow. And it looks like it might just be a 2-horse race at the front now.
Yeah, that is exactly what it looks like. In my personal experience, I would say that the hards are like, I don't know, half a second slower here than the mediums, just from my personal lap times.
Yep.
And but the tire wear is still quite bad on them, so it's actually just not worth it. And that's also the reason why we are going to see Danny and Hugos fighting this out for the win here on these tires. But one factor that I should probably also mention is we've got who's that? So we've got Tipsy in P5 and Justin in P1, who are still out on mediums, and medium soft is a real possibility, especially on unworn. If you've got an unworn set of softs and mediums, then you can actually pull that one off. And that is really fast, so maybe in the second stint we're gonna see a charge through the field from Justin and maybe even Tipsy. I don't know how far that will lead. Oh, we've lost, I think that's Basco. Yeah, it's Basco. Out of, I don't know.
Yep, in the long right-hander, he must have touched the curb.
That's actually
so
not
Basco
anymore.
Ah,
well
that's
scary,
good.
But it's not an instant.
I saw several people spin out of it. Is it the tier 3 race earlier? Maybe the tier 4 race earlier this week. Several cars spun there. So it's obviously still a little bit treacherous, but maybe not quite as much as it was before.
You can recover it. That's it. Like before it was just hit and you're gone. Or you mash the brake really hard, lock up and go straight.
By the way, update on Copy. We didn't see what happened to Copy, but he pitted twice for some reason. He went onto mediums and then he went back onto the hards the next lap. So something must have happened on his out lap. He must have hit somebody on his out lap. That's the only thing I can think of. Maybe. As Basco retires from the session, he retired in the pits. So fingers crossed that this is not going to be a safety car.
Yeah,
that would spice things up at the front.
I think Copy might have, like, on pit exit raced with some cars trying to hang on to Danny, because already, like, the first time I saw
Hugo on Danny for the lead, sorry. Down the inside into turn 1, Hugo locking a brake, and Danny not really able to get the cut back. He's going to get a good run through turn 2 though, but maybe not quite good enough as they come up the hill. He's got DRS, but he's not using his battery, and Hugo will retain the lead for the time being.
Yeah, that was a really good move. I did not see that one coming. Gary is past his fellow Irishman Tipsy now. Tipsy, of course, going really long on these mediums. He's looking for softs in the second stint, I'm pretty sure now. Otherwise, I mean, if he was doing medium hards, he would have put it already.
And something else interesting is that Wow is not really losing touch with Hugo and Danny, so not exactly sure what's happening there. Gary passes Bailey. Yeah. Don't know where that happened. Bailey must have made a mistake. That's not an overtaking spot normally. But certainly, wow. I mean, he's a second and a half behind now, but he was 1.1 earlier this lap, so the pace advantage on the medium's not all that pronounced at this point in the race.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the penalty is just going to be what makes it impossible for him to strike back, but maybe if Danny picks one up himself, Wow could still get involved for P2.
Brawley on the back of Tipsy now into the final corner. Brawley might just lose DRS here from the guys in front of him, the Gary Bailey train, and those two it looks like going to be fighting into turn 1 as well. Bailey down the inside. He's going to be ahead before the braking zone, so he's going to get that move very easily. Now the leader's on the back of Justin, who hasn't pitted yet. Hugo's going to get that move done, I think, by the looks of things, into turn 3. Danny is going to try and get the exit, I would imagine, and get past into 4 and 5.
Oh, was that collision? I don't know. But
oh, and Danny and Justin not giving it to Danny. Danny trying to force his way through on the right-hand side. He will have the inside for the right-hander, and he should have the traction on the exit, but he lost a bit of time there to Danny, and he's out of Hugo's DRS range now. So can he make a break?
I think Bailey and Gary also collided there, so there was two battles going on at the same time. And Gary comes out on top in this one, and Danny must be really furious with that one by Justin, because there was no real point for Justin to fight it too hard. Julian with a penalty, yeah, now Danny, I think this might have just cut the ties between them.
He's got no battery as well. Hugo's got a lot of battery, so Hugo's going to be using that overtake button a whole bunch, I would imagine, in the next lap or so to make sure that he's got the Ferrari out of his DRS. Justin about a second behind. Wow, about a second behind Justin. With 12 laps to go. And Hugo might just have made the decisive move in this race now. Danny completely out of battery. Hugo still has half of his.
Oh, Brawley's actually in. So he's going for his second medium stint.
2 stopping, yeah, Brawley.
We've lost Copy, I believe. Yeah, Copy is facing the wrong way in the S's of Sector 2.
Yeah, so Copy, I would imagine, is going to be retiring fairly soon. Bailey and Gary still battling for P5.
What's going on? There's loads of
we have
in the field. Pit stops.
Yeah, lots of pit stops. People 2 stopping.
Wow, stuck
Bailey. Yeah, Bailey ahead of Gary, and yeah, Wow having the problem that Danny had a little bit earlier on. Not able to get past Justin. He's going to try and go around the outside here, is he? It's a brave move. Puts a lot of faith in Justin that he's going to give space. And he doesn't get any space either.
That's a bad acceleration zone, so Justin causing issues, and now he's weaving on the straight. Interesting. So Emily is just showing that he's not happy with what's going on here either. But I'm afraid cars behind are faster.
Well, I mean, he does have every right to defend his position, Justin. He doesn't have any obligation to move aside for the cars that are going to come past him anyway. It might be costing himself time doing it, but certainly he is well within his rights to fight this, and I don't think he's fought it in a way that was unfair so far, either with Danny or with Wow.
Now he's pitting.
Yeah, he does pit.
I just mean they are gonna. Of course, he's got every right. They're just gonna be frustrated because they didn't gain either of them anything. So. Yeah,
Bailey and Gary again, swapping places into turn 1. Gary getting the better of it for the time being. Jensen keeping a watching brief. All 3 of them on those hard tires.
Bryce and Julian also side by side coming into the acceleration zone of the long straight, and now Julian might even have.
Oh, and Light Cruiser too.
He's got that one. With the overtake button with the DRSs.
Oh, and Justin coming out of the pits as well, making that a 4-way fight as they go into turn 1, and Justin just about keeping space there on the inside. Light Cruiser did give him room, which was crucial for him. And Justin now going to be having a good look at Light Cruiser on those fresh tyres, and he's going to be down the inside into turn 3. Justin on the fresh softs.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna get past Julian very easily. I mean, fresh softs just beat worn hards. But then there's a 17-second gap to some idiot, and I think that might just be a little too big. So at the end of the race, I expect Justin to be like roughly where Jensen and some idiot are, but probably not further, which would still make it a really good drive from Justin. But I don't think he's threatening for a podium here, even though his strategy's worked out brilliantly.
Yeah, I think certainly Justin is going to be moving on ahead in the remainder of this race, but I don't think he's going to make up 17 seconds in 10 laps. Meanwhile, this three-way fight between Gary, Bailey, and Jensen. Sending one up the inside there is Bailey, and not making the corner as a consequence. So Gary does manage to get him back, and Jensen right on the back now of Bailey as well. Bailey moves to the inside. Jensen going to try and go around the outside into turn 3. He used a lot more battery there to Jensen, and he has swept around the outside in turn 3. So Jensen up to P5. Some idiot now is on the back of that battle as well, so he's going to be sniffing for an opportunity on those medium tires. Up front though, as Gary gets 3 seconds, so that's a big deal for him. So that puts him at a disadvantage compared to the other two. I'm just going to check the penalty situation with those guys. Gary's
just running away. Go
on. Jensen with 2 warnings, Bailey with 2 warnings, some idiot with 1 warning, but on the first lap, so it might not be an actual warning. It might be for contact rather than for track limits.
Cruiser's got himself a penalty.
Yeah, running in P17.
And yeah, as you said, it was the crucial moment indeed when Justin and Danny clashed for that P2. And that has indeed cost Danny the chance to at least hang on with Yugos. And I think Yugos is going to drive this home from here. Of course, I could be wrong. Commentators' curse is a real thing, of course, obviously. So, I'm just really trying to make this entertaining. More entertaining. It's not a bad race for sure. We've got such a big fight for the midfield between Gary, Jensen, Bailey, some idiot. Also, Justin could still be in with a shout.
Yeah, I'm just looking at these gaps as well. Wow's 3rd place is very much under threat here. He's got 3 seconds worth of penalties. Jensen and Bailey do not, and neither does some idiot either. And some idiot on those medium tires, he will have been looking after them as best as he possibly can.
He won in really convincing fashion last time out here. And this is going to be his last race this season because VVDL starts again, which is the league he is driving in. So 2 races. In the first one he was really impressive. In the second one I think he got caught up in some stuff, and now he is trying to make his way through the midfield at least to fight for P4, which is still very much on the cards of running a net P6 because he doesn't have a penalty. Gary does. Brawley and Julian are actually fighting here, the 2 Dutch drivers. And Tipsy has gotten past Bryce as well. Is that true? Yeah, it is. So Tipsy on his way through the field as well. He might actually pick up Triton and Julian. Maybe even get to Brawley.
And certainly at the moment, he's looking interested in some points. Some idiot having a look down the inside and a send up the inside of Bailey. He does get it stopped for turn 1, but they're side by side still. And Bailey looks like he's got the high ground in that one, so he keeps P6 for the time being. Some idiot, though, having a good look at the back of that Renault.
Yeah, he's just not getting past right now. It's the almighty DRS train, and the longer he waits, the worse his tires are going to be, especially because his are mediums, the other one's all running on hards. You can tell he's pushing really hard, he's using all that track, getting on the throttle as early as possible, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Fastest lap of the race snatched away by Light Cruiser for now. So oh, Jensen's round!
Jen got turned around by Bailey, and no, Jensen. Oh, and wow!
No!
Back onto track. Some idiot with some extremely good driving there to avoid the AlphaTauri that was spinning on the exit of the corner. But Bailey certainly at fault for that one. So running into the back of Jensen. And that's extremely bad luck for Jensen, who was in a very good position in that battle. Bailey was also in a good position. He's no longer in a good position, I would think, because without wanting to preempt any penalty from the FIA, I'm certain he will get something.
Yeah, also it's gotten some idiot in a really good spot, because now he doesn't have a DRS train ahead of himself. He can pick apart Bailey, and then he can drive up to Gary and maybe even pick his position up, and he doesn't even need to because of the penalties. So it's gotten some idiot in a really good situation. He might end up P4 here, which would be really good. Might even be P3 with Brow's penalty. So still up all to play for him. What is Bailey doing? Bailey's slowing. Oh, Bailey's slowing.
He must have front wing damage.
No, he's slowing for
oh,
Jensen,
he's slowing for Jensen. Oh well, fair play to Bailey. That's very sporting. He knows that he ran into the back of the Dutchman, and Jensen just weaving there to say either "What on earth were you doing?" or "Thank you," one or the other.
Thank you.
To ask him afterwards. But good to see sportsmanship like that. It's not very often that you see sportsmanship like that, but SLR, of course, is one of the values that SLR tries to encourage. And certainly Bailey, although he made the mistake initially, has recognized that he made the mistake and has to some extent made amends. So, 6 laps now to go. Hugo, I don't want to put too much of a curse on him, but is looking very good indeed. No warning still for the Williams driver.
Hey Yugos, we're watching you. Do you feel the pressure yet? Hey Yugos, look at this. Oh my god, attraction zone, Yugos.
He seems calm. I can't do anything. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he's calm enough. He's got plenty of experience at this point leading these races, so he knows what it's like. And he is 4.5 seconds now clear of Danny, who still hasn't picked up that third warning.
Yep.
And looks set for a very good second place, having executed a really good qualifying lap and also executed what looks to be a very good strategy. We don't know what the tyre situation is yet, of course.
Oh, Tipsy.
So,
as well.
Oh yeah, Tipsy making his way through. He's got 5 seconds to get onto the back of Julian. So he's going to be doing his best to do that.
Also, Julian's got a penalty, so Tipsy is actually on for points. Considering he said he didn't really practice, and considering that Julian kinda did win a championship last season, that's a really good performance from Tipsy. Alzoni also with a penalty now, but he's done P14, so not the most spectacular race from him so far. But maybe we'll see more in the future. He's a reserve driver, so you never know. But,
yep, absolutely showing a good turn of pace, but not able to hook it up to the extent required in the race for this one. Not going to get himself any points, but still a good debut from him.
Bailey still on the back of Jensen. Of course, after he positioned himself there after the initial contact, but it doesn't. It looks like Jensen's kind of got the pace on Bailey. So
yeah, and I just wonder if he's going to fight him for the rest of the race, having of course had an incident between the two of them, which spun Jensen around. I just wonder if they're going to hold station for the rest of the race. And with 5 laps to go, I mean, I don't want to be too much of a downer on this one, but it's not exactly the thrilling finish that we had last week. I think certainly the front 3 places look like they are decided. Wow, with 3 seconds of penalty, but Gary also with 3 seconds of penalty. Some idiot. Just going to check his penalty situation, because at the moment he is in range to get that P4, and yeah, no warnings for some idiot either, so he is in a very good position. And then yeah, Jensen and Bailey P6, P7. Further back, I think Tipsy is not close enough to the back of Julian to threaten that final point for 10th place. The soft tyre is going to be dying fairly soon. So the only potential spanner in the works for any of these drivers at the front is those medium tyres, which we've seen before. I mean, we heard from Timo earlier about the tyre situation, and they are certainly marginal. So Hugo and Danny are going to be trying to protect those tyres as best they can. Hugo has pulled away quite a bit the last few laps, and I just wonder if Danny is in a little bit of tyre trouble, because certainly he's fallen off the back, either because he has I don't think he's quite as fast as Hugo anyway, but certainly I don't think he's as far off as he's showing at the moment. I just wonder if either he's taking it easy on those tyres to look after them, or if those tyres have given up to the extent where he's losing that amount of pace.
yeah, Could be either, to be honest. I believe it's more just of a thing. You hit 60% and you think, I've got literally nothing to fight for. I'm just gonna wait it out. And I believe that's what Danny's doing. It doesn't matter if he's gonna finish 1 second behind Yugos or 10 seconds behind Yugos, as long as it's P2. So
yeah.
No real.
But the same is true. The same is true of Hugo, of course, who does have 1 lap less on his tires than Danny does. So that is a pretty big advantage in the context of this tire-saving war. But certainly at the moment he's pulling away, and he doesn't seem particularly worried about his tire situation at all. So Danny, at the moment, going to keep an eye on these lap times for Danny, because he's going to cross the line, and it was a pretty quick lap from Danny, so he's within 4/10 of his fastest lap so far. But Hugo at the moment, just with that extra little bit of pace, he's doing in fact, extremely consistent. 29.9, 30.0. Last lap was a 30.3, but before that, his lap times are extraordinarily consistent.
That is really good pace.
And yeah, he's pretty consistently half a second or so faster a lap than Danny is, as Bailey does get the move done now on Jensen. He did decide to go for it up the inside into turn 1. Jensen without any battery at all to defend himself.
Do those two have penalties? Because there's a Justin coming from behind, heading into the second sector here, and he's able to see these cars. He's got 2 laps and a half.
Yeah, but so Bailey on 2 warnings, Jensen also on 2 warnings, so they're both on the limit there. And Justin's situation, penalty-wise, is that he has 1 warning. So he is going to be going for it. At the moment, this is a straight fight between these 3 drivers.
Oh, Pixel's past copy. That's very important.
Yeah, Pixel for P17 on those fresh softs. He's going to have a run at the fastest lap, I imagine.
Yeah. Which is, right now, let's have a look. No, that's the wrong one. It is a 128.1 driven by Light Cruiser earlier on. So I think Pixel can beat that. It is possible, for sure. Especially with DRS. With ERS, it's really possible to put a quick lamp in. He's even gotten the DRS of copy. So I think Pixel might actually walk away with the fastest lap.
Yep, very possibly. We'll have to see. He has to execute the lap, of course. Gap up front now, 6.2 seconds.
Now Sonny almost shoving Tipsy around the corner here. Yeah, it hasn't quite worked for Tipsy to get into the points, as he's being passed by Sonny on his debut, so it's gonna be P11 for him, I'd imagine. Tipsy's tires in the end didn't hold up, I assume. Triton's still on his back, so P12 for him, P13 for Triton, and then Bryce is in P14. Of course the race isn't over yet, but that's what it looks like in the gap of 7 seconds to Julian. Just makes the point that they're probably not going to get into any points paying positions. Triton with a penalty, yeah.
Yep, so Triton not going to be getting any points, unfortunately, for him after that. Didn't see the incident with Justin earlier, but I think there was one. Icewind's going to have a run at the fastest lap as well. He's pitting for fresh softs, as Gary now under pressure for that 4th place from some idiot on those medium tyres, as we got yellows in sector 2. That's a McLaren light cruiser who's looped it.
He's copied his teammate. Baskedini has done the same thing early on in the race.
Yeah, that's true. So last lap now, with Hugo's set to win this race, having gotten, I think, no points last week after that incident in the last lap with Jensen. But certainly he's making amends this week, and the battles are... We got Some Idiot versus Gary here for 4th. We got Bailey and Jensen on the outside of Bailey into turn 1. Justin also sniffing at the back. This is a straight fight between these 3 drivers. Justin on the soft tyres. Gary with a penalty, which is a huge deal, because that means he will not get that 4th place unless Some Idiot also gets himself a penalty or something happens on the last lap. Side by side, Bailey and Jensen. A little bit more contact between the 2 of them. Bailey just forcing his way through on the inside there. Jensen trying to go around the outside and spinning as Bailey. And an action replay of last week almost with Hugo's and Jensen. And this time it's Bailey that goes around on the inside of the right-hander. And he loses out this time. So Jensen once again in an incident on the last lap as Light Cruiser gets himself a speeding penalty in the pit lane. up front though, as Hugos comes into the last corner. We'll keep an eye on this battle here between Justin and Jensen, because Justin has gotten through in the second DRS zone, but Hugos crosses the line to win the race.
Jensen's got a puncture. No! I told you the tires weren't, the tires won't last too long, and Jensen's pitted too early. Also, Wow's not gonna get onto the podium because some idiot is within 3 seconds of him, and he's got that penalty. So some idiot jumps into P3. Hugos, of course, with a brilliant drive. And Danny, some idiot rounds out the podium. Wow, just about not on it again. Penalties ruined another race for him. This time it was only one, but it's Bahrain, not Australia. Justin, really good P5. Let me actually check. Where did he come from? P15. And he finished fifth.
Good stuff from Justin.
Really good.
Who was in the wars during the race, but managed to bring it home. Jensen did cross the line in P7 with that puncture. And Brawley, of course, with a good performance as well. He's on the medium tyres at the end of the race. He finishes P6. Bailey 8th, Julian 9th, and El Sunny does get himself a point. Just pips Tipsy there in the by 0.6 of a second. So Sunny with a creditable debut, and I was wrong when I said he hadn't done enough to get a point. He does get the final point.
Yeah, same.
Oh no, never mind, because Gary is bugged.
Oh.
So Gary actually finished, what, 5th?
Yeah.
So Gary is 5th, and everyone else is moved down a spot. So Jensen actually coming 8th by the looks of things, unless there are more bugs, which there might be. But
no,
I think it's right too.
Also, Lacruza did, Lacruza is the last one to finish, and he did keep the fastest lap, I believe. So.
Yeah, thank you to Neber and also Luca for pointing that out in chat. That Gary was bugged.
Epic pose. Look at that.
Justin ready for a fight. He certainly is pretty much always ready for a fight, is Justin. But the winner of the race is Hugo.
POV, you are Danico trying to take a peaceful P2. That's what you see.
Yep.
Oh no. Well, you guys, absolutely stellar drive. Also, Danny, finally with the podium. I just remember from last season, I don't know how much of that you gathered, but like Danny was always like front midfield, and then he had 2 poles in Monza and Spa, and both of them ended in kind of disaster. He got a really bad penalty in Spa for like cutting a little bit of bus stop instant 5 seconds, and in Monza, it was, I think, a strategy decision on the safety car. So he has not won here yet. So he has at least equaled his best finish, but maybe it is his best finish. I don't know. It was certainly one of his best drives, because he was until that fight with Justin happened. He was on, he was on course to stay with Hugos for that for the entirety of that second stint. Just didn't happen in the end. Really impressive stuff from him. I'm looking forward to see more from him for the end of the season, rest of the season.
Yep, me too. Yep, absolutely right. So that's your podium. Hugo's Danny and some idiot Danny with another really good performance. We've seen a few from him early part of this season. He's carrying on the good form he showed at the end of last season. And actually, we need to switch. We need to switch channels, don't we, into the SLR
Why do we keep
commentary booth? So I'll do that now.
Absolute oopsies. Well, let's head over. Yeah, I just want to warn you that I can't really do too many interviews today, or like I can't stick around for too long.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll try and rattle through them as best we can. So who is in the gentleman's lounge? We've got. Let's bring Wow in, who had a pretty strong race up there. Really good pace from Wow, ending up P4 in that one because of the penalty and some idiot just pipping you at the line. Wow, but you must be pretty pleased with the pace. You were able to hang on for quite a long time there on the hard tires.
Yeah, it was a better race than Australia for sure. But Danny and Hugos were just the first today. But yeah, I was really happy that I could hang with them the first 3 laps on the hards. I planned to hang around with them for a little bit longer, but I had some difficulties getting getting by Justin.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it was fine, but yeah, it cost me 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah, Justin was certainly the spoiler. That he basically broke up the front three there. In the as you guys all passed him, because Danny lost the back of Hugo as well during that whole thing. But yeah, I mean the hard tires. I mean, was hards always the plan? Did you ever think about the mediums, or is that not worth it? Do you think?
Well, in the early stages of practicing for the race, I tried the soft medium strategy, and I thought that the tire wear towards the end of the stints is going to be too high, and that they're going to be so much slower that the soft hard is more profitable. But turns out the soft medium strategy is actually pretty fast. I think it's also kind of a setup thing. Yeah. And driving style.
Yeah, those mediums held up at the end of the race for those guys who did use them, and certainly they weren't much slower than the hards, that's for sure.
No,
if they were at all at the end of the race.
Hugo's was I think all the time faster than me. So yeah, he had great pace.
Yeah, good stuff from Hugo. Gonna bring him in a second, but yeah, anything. I mean, it's a 4th place, really good points for you. How do you feel sort of going ahead now? We've got Hanoi next week. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, well, I can't say too much about Hanoi from me so far, because I've just driven a few laps in time trial just to get the hang of the track. I'm gonna need not a lot of, but a little bit of practice, figuring out the strategy, right setup, and also the right line. I don't know where I'm gonna be. I think I want to fight for at the top again, but I don't know. I can't really say.
Yeah, no, new track for everyone, so it'll be interesting to see how people react to it. Thanks very much for talking to us. I'll drag you back into the gentleman's lounge, and well done on your 4th place. Let's bring in our podium then. In that case, we're going to talk to all of them at once, because Hugo has not Hugo, Timo has to go fairly soon, and he's the one streaming, so if he goes, I go. But all 3 of you showing, well, certainly for this race, that the soft medium was the strategy to be on. And let's start with Hugo, our race winner, because once again you showed that you've just got a little edge on everyone, and just when it mattered, and we saw the consistency of those lap times on the mediums as well. We pointed that out in commentary. There were like 9 lap times or something within 1/10 of a second. So you must be really happy with that. That was pretty much faultless.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I think that was one of the most consistent races I've done by far.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, the soft medium we discussed a little bit with WoW. Was there ever any doubt in your mind that that was the best thing to do? Did you try the hards?
I did, and I figured they were slower. So me and Copy, we both wanted to do soft medium, and there isn't like a big window to do it in regarding like pitting, and we didn't want a double stack. So we agreed that he pitted a lap before me. So on my first stint, I was tire saving a lot, so I can go the extra lap.
Yeah. How close were you? Do you know? Were you ever in puncture territory?
At the very end, I was at 77%.
Okay, so you'd have had to have been pretty unlucky to get a puncture with that. Puncture is 75 plus. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So but yeah, I mean it was a controlled drive. It was I guess the crucial thing from your perspective, and we'll talk to Danny in a second too. But Justin acting as spoiler and fighting both Danny and WoW gave you the space you needed for a break.
Yeah, I mean, I think I nearly rear-ended Justin actually.
Well, good thing you didn't, because yeah, that would have been pretty bad if you'd lost some front wing. But yeah, no real drama. And I mean, 25 points from this one, that gives you it gives you 25 points because of what happened last week. But I mean, how confident are you feeling sort of moving ahead? We got Hanoi next week, new track? Have you driven it at all?
I have. I think I have decent pace on it, but I don't know about the others, so we'll see.
Yeah, cool. Well done on the one. We'll talk to Danny as well, and I'll leave all three of you in here unless you have to go. But Danny, with that second place, the 18 points for you. I mean, were you ever thinking at any point that you might be able to think about the win, or was Hugo just a little bit too fast?
I knew Hugo's too fast for me. No chance.
Yeah, he's certainly a fast boy. I mean, really good performance nonetheless. I mean, again, on the mediums, was that always what you were going to do?
Yes, I tried the hards. They just felt horrific.
Yeah, the hards. I mean, we heard from I mean, because Jensen had a puncture on the hards at the end of the race, so they're not that much better in terms of the, in terms of the wear, and they're slower too. So I guess just not really worth it. But I mean, a smart race from you in the sense of able to use the DRS of Hugo.
Yes.
What happened with Justin? Were you just not able to quite get past efficiently enough?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Because it's he's under no obligation to move out of the way for you, but you're trying to save tires and you're trying to make sure you're not getting in any incidents, so it's really tough.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, another podium for you anyway. I mean, you're racking up the podiums. Well, I mean, because you came the 2S race, you got a podium, right? In Australia, is that right? No.
I died in it.
Oh man. Okay, yeah. So a podium for you. I mean, you've had quite a few over the last few months. I know that, and I just sort of have the vision of you in my head as like someone who gets a lot of podiums. So that's how are you feeling about Hanoi?
Scared.
Yeah. I think most people are. But yeah, well done on second place. Got some idiot who finished third in that race, and Cody, I mean, that wasn't an ideal race, I guess, from your perspective. Talk us through what happened lap 1, because we saw you lost places, we didn't see how.
I got sandwiched by Brawley and Copy into turn 4. I was side by side with Copy. I was on the inside for 4. New Copy was on my outside. Brawley came from about half a car length back, dived the inside, sandwiched me. I tried getting on the brakes even to try to avoid it. I still got my wing sheared off. I had wing damage for the first 10 laps. I had left side yellow wing damage. I looked at it again. Yes, I did. That's what allowed me to come back at the second part of the stint. Excuse me. Excuse me. I mean, I'm happy with that, given the circumstances of everything. I got fortunate on penalties for Gary and Wow. I mean, they both did a nice job. I think Gary did an awesome job. Wow did a really nice job with the undercut and trying to make that work. I feel like the soft medium is still a better strategy if you're able to hang on to the softs for 10 laps and you can get the mediums the rest of the way. I was surprised on the medium wear on 19 laps, for example, but it's unfortunate, really. But I mean, I'm happy with the P3 given everything that happened. I knew starting in lower top 10 it was going to be kind of hectic. I was just trying to keep my nose clean, and it still wasn't enough on my end, but I did what I could. I feel like I did what I could. I maximized what I could out of that race, and I got a little fortunate. And congrats to Hugo and Danny. They did an awesome job, qualified really well, and managed to make the race pace work for both of them. And yeah, they did a really good job. So I'm happy with my race given what I had.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly did do a good job. But yeah, absolute credit given the things that happened in that race. For you to get a podium out of it is seriously impressive. I didn't realize that you'd lost a chunk of your front wing in that first stint, and that makes it even more impressive.
It was unfortunate, but like I said, I had to maximize what I could out of the race. Got fortunate for a lot of cases, but like I said, I'm gonna take that. That was was the best I could have done with the circumstances I had. So that's all I can ask for, really. I tried.
Absolutely.
I tried, and that's what I got.
Yeah, good stuff. So congratulations to all three of you. It was a really good drive from all of you. I'm going to drag you back into the gentleman's lounge because we're going to speak very quickly to two drivers today who had a couple of little incidents there. Bailey and Jensen. We saw Bailey. You ran into the back of Jensen in the first instance, as it were. But then you very sportingly let him catch up, and you had a further battle. So how are you feeling? And then you did you cosplayed Hugo from last week. So talk us. I mean, first of all, talk us through that final lap incident, because it looked like an action replay of last week.
Yeah, it was a very tough and hard battle. I had a very low battery, so I let Bailey overtake me in lap 25 or 26. I was like, I'm going to recharge my battery and strike on the last lap, or second to last lap. And we fought really hard, and I was already thinking this isn't going to end well, probably for one of us. But it was completely on the limit. I tried to go to the inside. Bailey moved to the inside on the last moment, so I hit his rear a little bit on the straight, and then I tried to keep it around the outside. And then on traction, he was a little bit in front again, and then I managed with the overtake to take the outside line in the right-left chicane downwards, and that's where we collided, unfortunately. But there's no bad blood between us. It's a shame. Bailey misbraked and hit me in the rear, which spun me around, because I had the podium under control. Actually, I was with this time I was with Wow in a voice call. I knew he had a 3-second penalty. Gary had one, so I was actually just charging my battery, and I was actually going to overtake Gary, I think, in the last lap, or second to last lap. I knew that some idiot couldn't do anything because we were in a DRS train, and in the last lap, I would have been able to defend and probably close the gap to Wow under 3 seconds. So no podium. And then I also got the puncture, because when I got spun around, I got 3 or 4% extra tire wear, and I did a massive undercut in lap 7 to clear some traffic in front of me, which worked nicely. Unfortunately, Copy hit me out of the pit. He already told me that was his own fault, so that's good for me in a sense. But it was a bit unlucky in the end.
Yeah. I mean, as unlucky as it was for you, and you still got some points, so that's certainly something. But as unlucky as it was for you, it's really, really good to see and to hear, like the sportsmanship between you and Bailey, and despite having a couple of incidents today, despite some things that certainly cost you a lot of points and were really unfortunate. It's good to hear that there's no bad blood between you.
No, definitely not. It's something that happens sometimes. Yeah, we are on the limit. Sometimes we calculate it wrong, and we move on.
Yeah, absolutely right. And Bailey, I guess you in the end got the better of it because of Jensen's puncture. So you got some good points as well in that race.
I didn't get Jensen.
No, he finished behind me.
Oh, did you finish behind him?
Yeah, Justin and Brawley overtook me.
Oh, right, I see. Okay, sorry, I'd not realized that. But I guess again, like you don't come away with nothing after that race, and you had really good pace for the whole race too.
I mean, yeah, I'm on your reserve. It doesn't really count for anything, but it's still good. I think being able to fight with the likes of Jensen and some idiot and people like that is encouraging for my pace and other things like that.
The thing on stream right now is, by the way, how Copy died, just so you know. Yeah, exited the pits. I put it on screen. Maybe it's interesting.
Yeah.
Go on.
So I guess, just looking at that, it's your car, Jensen, that we can see sort of cutting across. Did you know he was there?
What actually happened, I did the undercut. He was actually very late, and I was over the finish line, and I saw him coming out of the pit, but I was actually past him already before the braking zone by maybe 3 or 4 5 meters maybe.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to brake and take the corner. As you can see, my car was already in front of him. I actually spoke with him already, and he said, yeah, I just forgot to brake, because as you can see on the screen, Gary was also right behind me. So Copy, of course, wanted to try maybe to squeeze his car between us so he could attack me straight away, so he wouldn't get stuck in the DRS train. I think that's what maybe happened. Maybe he was a bit distracted with the intervals, with the gaps, with the deltas, but yeah, it was a shame. And I steered into the corner, and I felt this hit, and I was like, huh, where did Copy came from? Because yeah, I was already in front of him, so I was actually surprised that we made contact. Yeah, shame for him as well, because he told me he had very good pace, so it wasn't the best race for some of us.
Yeah, certainly Copy was going to be on the mediums for the second stint, and we know how Copy is on tyres. He's pretty smooth, so he might have been in a good position there. So unfortunate, but yeah, it does look like a little bit of a late move down the inside. I haven't seen it, obviously. Yeah. But that's what it looks like from the screenshot. So yeah, I guess we move on now to Hanoi. Have either of you done any running in Hanoi? Is it a track that you like or not? Or
I actually like the track a lot. But if I'm going to be fast on it, I don't know. I only did the My Team Career Mode 50% race. But yeah, I did enjoy it. But it's going to be very interesting, especially if people decide to go side by side through the last sector, which might happen in the race. Who knows? And yeah, we have to wait and see if we are going to put the safety car on, I think, because there was something with when the safety car is out and you decide to go to the pit, because the pit lane is so much sooner than the second to last corners. You get warnings and stuff. I think that's something someone posted. But yeah, anything can happen that race. If we do have the safety car on, I mean, definitely someone is going to crash out in the wall. So maybe it's going to be a safety car race. Who knows? But I actually like the track.
Okay, that's good to hear. How about you, Bailey? Have you done any running at all?
Well, I don't think I'll be doing the race. I mean.
Oh, you're not doing it. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a nail evaluation to do, man.
Okay.
Gotta get those
Imagine driving AOR kinda cringe.
Imagine, well, you drive AOR Timo in NCC.
I'm lazy. I don't. I actually don't, because I'm really lazy. But yeah. Like 2 hours, that doesn't.
Why are you so lazy then?
Because I've never needed to not be lazy. That's it. Well, anyways.
He's always been so fast that he can just be lazy and not do any practice.
Yeah, he's in a really luxury position right now.
Tara, don't make me quote playtime numbers. I know them all from the top of my head, and I'm going to throw them at you if you don't stop disrespecting me.
No, you deserve it, Timo. You deserve some luxury position.
650 hours.
I mean, the other German I was in a voice call with was a little calmer than you.
You want to say it's not my nationality that makes me really angry? Is that what you're trying to insinuate?
Yes.
That's really mean.
Yes.
After all,
I am calm.
Yeah, exactly.
It is the truth. Well, anyways.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks to both of you for joining us. I'm going to drag you back into the gentleman's lounge, and we will. Well, Timo, what's your situation? Are we?
No, we're fine.
What are we doing?
We're
fine.
It's fine.
All right.
So if Justin is still watching, can actually, yeah.
Yeah, if Justin is, he's unmuted himself, so he is certainly there. Justin with a really good P5 in the end with the soft tires at the end, and we saw you were involved in quite a lot in that race, Justin. What happened? Well, just talk us through it for the time being, and how was your race?
Well, good, as you could see on paper. P15, P5, definitely happy with that. Originally, I was going to go mediums to hards, but then I saw I had really good pace. I was only, I think, 0.02 of a second slower on my PB every single lap, practically. So I thought, what the heck, I'm going to keep it to lap 18 and then box for softs. And at lap 1, I made up I think 3 positions, and it was a really good start. And then I had all the momentum behind me, and then with the softs, I just didn't drop any pace, and a good recovery to P5, I guess, from P15.
Yeah, I mean, P15 to P5 is really impressive. The soft tires at the end, I mean, you made up a lot of time on those soft tires, and you had extremely good pace, as you said. Just talk us through that final stint, because certainly, I mean, well, first of all, talk us through what happened with the leaders. I mean, I don't think there was. Certainly, I don't think you did anything particularly wrong from what I could see. So, like, how was that battle for you?
Well, with the lead, considering I was on 80% old mediums, I definitely knew, me fighting it and pushing it would not help me or them, because I was trying to really cruise it back into the pits, so I didn't want to ruin either races. But what Danny did, I'm not, complaining or anything, but what he did was right. He definitely wanted to, push to catch up to the leader, and then, you had me, basically a moving roadblock with ice cubes for tires in front of him. But I wasn't expecting him to get in front the way he did, especially at that corner. It's already difficult by yourself, but with 2, it was even more difficult. It did cost me a few seconds, but, he had the right to do that, and, I probably should have made it a bit easier for him, but then again, I wasn't really expecting him to go for what he did. But luckily, we both made it out, and no front wing damage.
Yeah, no front wing damage, and certainly good pace at the second stint as well. How far did you think you could get? Did you think you could get to P5 at the end of the race?
No, because when I got out the pits, I was in, I believe, P10, and then I had a Racing Point and and then an AlphaTauri in front of me. And then I was P8, and then I was essentially just cruising for the rest of the race. I believe it was, Jensen and Bailey were in front of me. They were 9-10 seconds, so I thought, okay, I'm just going to cruise in and then, finish P8. But then, for some reason, somehow, on 40% lap old tires, lap 25, I was catching up 1.2 seconds a lap per lap. And I just thought, what the heck, I'm going to go for it. So really, for the last 4 laps, they were all quality laps, or at least I tried to. And then eventually I came up to the back of them. They did their little mistake. And I took advantage and then snuck myself in the DRS of Jensen and got him just before the end of the sector 2. So yeah, it was a really good stint, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, I think P5 10 points. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's your best result in Tier 1.
Yeah.
And we got Hanoi next. How are you feeling about that? Are you confident there?
I don't know, to be honest. I only did my team career mode races and a little bit of time trial. I'm not really the quickest, but then again, I didn't really spend too much time on it. I do like the track though. I do really like the flow of the track. And I'm looking forward to it because, first race of a new track, it's always exciting, and you don't know what's happening and who's quickest there and who's slowest. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
Yep, good stuff. So thank you for talking to us. 10 points is I think a really good haul for you. So well done. I'm going to drag you back into the gentleman's lounge, and we'll bring in Mr. Julian, who had a pretty interesting race, and you sent me a clip of a double overtake, Julian. So, I mean, just talk us through your race. How did it go? It looks like you were involved in plenty of action.
Yeah. So, I really had literally no time to practice. I only knew 10 minutes before the race that I could race. Some people in my life were just being a little bit difficult and didn't allow me to get to where my setup is, and lots of arguing and shit went on, and thankfully I was able to make it. I had to set up my wheel at 6 p.m, so 15 minutes before the race, really. And yeah, I literally had no time. I literally just slided into the DMs with Copy and I asked if he had a setup for me, and he gave me one, which was alright. It's better than nothing, because my original plan was loading the Australia one. I have no reason to. I just had nothing else in the setup folder. But I had the one from Copy, so I loaded that one in. At the start it was alright, first 3 laps. But then I started getting mid-corner understeer and then snap oversteer for some reason. I've never had it in the F1 games before, but that's the thing apparently. So I had that, but the pace really wasn't that terrible. It was nowhere near the front runners, but I expected it to be way worse because I've never driven Bahrain on this game yet, and I just stepped in. So I was really happy with that. The hards went really well as well on the first 5-6 laps. And then for some reason I just started sliding around a lot. The temps and the wear were fine, but that was cool. I managed to keep it under control. I did spin once early on in the race on the mediums, but I don't think that affected me too much. And then I pulled some good overtakes, especially the double one that I sent you in the DMs. And I don't know if you saw that on stream, but yeah, I was really happy.
Yeah, we didn't, unfortunately, but certainly it was really impressive into turn 3.
Yeah, so I was really happy with that one. Then on the final lap, I arrived at turn 6 and I just saw Bailey there, and I was like, okay, let's just give it a go. I pushed really hard, and on the final turn, I was sliding around all the way until the line because I wanted to get on the power to pass him, but yeah, I just missed out by a few tenths, and thankfully I only had one penalty this time and not like 9 or 12 seconds like last week, so I jumped a place or 2, so that was good.
Yeah, I mean, after a race like that, that's a solid result. And again, I mean, we spoke last week a little bit about sort of the difference between last season and this season in terms of your sort of, you know, your preparation and all of that stuff. So, you know, any points you can get are really good. And Hanoi next week, how are you? Have you done any running at all? I imagine you probably haven't.
I've done time trial when the game came out, obviously, because it's a new track. And,
nice.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to swear right here. I'm dog shit. It's so bad. So, but thankfully this time I'm gonna have some time to practice, unlike the last 2 weeks. So maybe I'm gonna do some, maybe not. I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, if I didn't practice enough, I have no excuses anymore because that was then my own decision. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited for Hanoi. I looked at a few career mode videos, and considering the real life people are more aggressive and daring than the AI, it should be good racing there. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Jensen was saying about side by side through the last sector should be interesting if people decide to do that.
I might just give it a go. I have nothing to lose anyway. So.
Yep. All right. Well done today, and thanks for talking to us.
No problem. Always.
Cool. It's always good to have you. I'm going to drag you back into the Gentleman's Lounge. So that was Mr. Julian, and we're going to speak to the traditional interviewee for SLR Tier 1, Mr. Tipsy Bob. He's always very good value, and you got pretty good race today, Tipsy. P11.
How you doing, you sexy bastard?
Hello, Timo. How are you, Timo? Tell me about your life.
My life is very interesting. I get to commentate on F1 races on the internet, and there's this guy, Tipsy, who generally gets asked questions about his races, which he refuses to answer, so do that, please.
Okay, so sorry, I was asked the question. I promised I would be brief, so here's me being brief.
It's all in relative terms.
I started the computer. Okay. No, seriously. It's 2 hour practice, guys, as you all know, the route. It's kind of the same routine here. I don't practice, I don't care, all that stuff. But yeah, I can't speak. That's the first. So I've done a lot of commentating, as you know, recently over the past couple of weeks, and I've seen a lot of races going on in Bahrain, and I've seen all the strategies. Now, I know I wasn't as fast as all of those guys, so I needed to find an alternative strategy. Fast forward yesterday, and I did the Rapid Racers race commentator with Icewind, and it is where I saw the AlphaTauris doing a medium to soft run, and it was pretty mega, and it got to the point where I think Mizo came in second. He was like near last in quali.
Janab and Mizo did 2-3 from 11-12.
Yeah, he was almost catching Hugo because Hugo had a 3-second penalty. Anyway, fast track that. I saw that works. It's a pretty good strategy. Okay, and I knew that I was talking to Hugo Pope pre-race, and he was giving me some tips. And there was like the soft to hard was the strat to go with. I knew in my own ability that I wasn't having enough practice and I couldn't get in the top 10 in quali. I just knew it. So I had always intended to do this strat. medium to hard. Right, fast forward onto the race. I was expecting to get the light bug. As you know, that's a bloody nuisance, that thing. So what I was prepared for was whenever the lights went out, I wouldn't let go of the clutch to try and negate that. But as luck has it, whenever the lights went out for me, it went out for everyone else.
Whoa.
So there was me sitting like with my genitalia in my hand, can I say? And I went wherever I was to last. But it played out. It played to my advantage, guys, because there was a bit of carnage up ahead. So anyway, the race was just managing my mediums. And Hugo was telling me that I'm going to have to switch to the lean quite a lot if I'm going to do that strat, which I didn't do. I actually went to rich mode. And the last thing there, the lap 17, I wanted to run onto lap 18. I ran onto lap 17, and I was on 69% front left. And I was absolutely bricking it because I thought I'm going to get a puncture any moment here. I didn't get the puncture. I went in, came out in the softs, and it was just full attack. And yeah, I actually had P10 covered because I knew that who was in front of me. It was Julian in front of me. He had 3 seconds, but I wasn't catching him. But I knew I had P10 covered. Then Sony came up on the mediums and he passed me. He had 3 seconds. I had none. I had it covered until the very last lap when I had a little issue, and I dropped me just to think about a couple of tenths off him. So I missed out in P10, guys. But yeah, overall, I said I'd be brief. This is me being brief. With very little practice, coming in at P11 with this grid in Bahrain, overall, I'm satisfied.
Yep, really solid. I mean, like two good results now. P6 was it last week?
P6 and then
P11. And then P11. So I mean, yeah, just absolutely fantastic. We got a new track next. Have you done any running at all in Vietnam?
I have done absolutely none. I didn't even know it existed. That's it.
I have to be completely honest. I was completely oblivious that it was the third race of the season until yesterday, when I think it came up in one of the streams or in one of the chats or something. That I don't even remember how I found out, but it sort of just slowly dawned on me that it was actually the next race. So yeah, I've never seen the track either, other than like there was one Assetto Corsa video that came out like when it was announced, and it wasn't even like the proper track. It was just the shape of the track with like curbs and walls and where they would be. So I've got no idea what it's like.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting.
I think I seen that video too, Tara, and it didn't look like the most enjoyable track from what I saw. But I guess we'll find out. How much time have we got, Timo?
Well, what? Just say. It's okay.
Do you want to ask me anything else, Timo?
Huh? No, I was just gonna.
No, I'm offering myself to you, Timo. Take it.
You did tell me I could do with you what I wanted.
Yes.
I'm gonna move you out of the interview channel. No, just kidding. I was just going to say that my interpretation of Hano is that it's a really, really terrible track unless you're good at it. And I think I think if you actually practice for it, 20 hours of not having fun at all, then you might actually enjoy racing them. That's my take.
Yeah. Well, I won't be practicing it. That's just a fact. It'll leave it till about a day beforehand, or even an hour before the race, and then I'll jump in.
I mean, rather 90 enjoyable minutes of league racing than 20 hours of unenjoyable practice in one good race, though.
Well, look, I won't delay it any further. I will jump on, and I think that there's some FII work that Timo is escaping from that I'm going to have to stop.
I actually need to go drinking. I need to. It's important.
Oh, no, you don't. Hold on a minute, Timo. You don't need to go drinking.
I will.
You don't need. But there's difference. You want.
Well, okay, wait. Let's put it like that. The material conditions of my current mental state require me to meet with friends and socialize, and therefore if I want to fulfill these needs, I will need to go out drinking, which is exactly what I'm going to do after this interview is over.
Are you going to dance? No?
Oh no. Definitely not.
Have I hit a nerve there? Timo up jiving on the dance floor.
I mean, I'm less awkward now than the last time I tried, so I might, but probably no.
Hey,
There you go. Alcohol's a wonderful thing.
I
You'll
have
you'll be
my-
dancing in no time.
I have like, I can't say that sentence in English. No, my body's not made for it. It just won't
Well-
work. Which is basically just me saying that you'll only get weird dancing videos from me like 3 a.m. when I'm really drunk, and then like I'm gonna forget about it and find out like 2 years later that all of you have them because I sent them.
The older I get, the less I can drink. So that is why I
Aren't you
drink tea.
aren't you sober for like 15 years?
Something like that, yes. I stopped drinking a long time ago. And that's why whenever I go anywhere and they'll say, "Where are you from?" And I says, "I'm from Ireland." And they go, "Oh, you must like alcohol." And I says, "No, I don't drink any at all."
No, I'm
And then they
also
call me
really
a fake.
dumb. I'm also really dumb without alcohol. I don't need any.
Oh,
I didn't say
Timo.
that. I didn't say
Yeah,
that.
see what I have to put up with Tara. He's
That's
really
true.
polite. He's really nice and lovely and charming with you. But when he's with me, he's an absolute.
What are you trying to say? I have no clue. Well, anyways, actually.
I shall go, gentlemen, and let you down the street.
Tara, do you have any?
Thank you, Tipsy.
Goodbye.
Sorry, Timo.
Do you have any specific final thoughts on who we should make driver of the day? Because we kind of.
Oh yeah, driver of the day. We didn't do driver of the day. Let's do
I was gonna say
I don't know.
Justin, because he gained 10 positions, made the off-strat work really well. So.
Sure, we'll do the F1 game logic and give it to Justin.
Yeah, I mean, after
sounds
that
good to
fight-
me.
After that fighter pose, what else were we gonna do? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely right. Can't argue with that.
yeah, it's like, it is true. Well, anyways, it's been a pleasure. Tomorrow we've got 2 races lined up, which, well, it's both going to be Tour Cyril. The first one, of course, at 18 CST is Tour Cyril Tier 2, and following that, 2 hours later, we've got the Tier 1, and that is hopefully going to be very exciting to watch. It's going to be Bahrain as well, and we've seen some good racing today. And Tour Cyril surely won't disappoint, so check in for that. And thanks for watching until this point. Everyone who's still here is a Chad, and I'll see you next week for Tier 1 again.
Bye bye.